football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? It is transfer window Muppetry. There's a lot going on in the Manchester United universe at the moment. We're about midway through the month of August. We've got a couple weeks left of the transfer window, and there's a lot of news stirring because we're the American Red Devils. We're talking about the greatest club in the world. We're talking about Manchester United, of course, where there's always stuff to talk about. So front office is going to remain in a position where they have a lot of wood to chop. You know, professional lumberjacks. I know all about lumberjacks. So a lot of players looking to sell. It's going to be a lot of selling to buy. I think at this point, I don't know if we can make another acquisition without selling. So all the players that you're used to hearing about, the deadwood, even the fringe of deadwood, they're on the block. And if they go, they're going to be made to go for the next guy up. So a lot of moves happening at once, but this team that they put together, you could actually say they're more than capable. They seem to be more than capable to manage multiple deals at once, and that's an encouraging place to be. And that's the only way this window is going to be a good one, is because you have smart people up front. So how we feeling? How we doing?
I mean, not only is this window going to be a good one, but like what we're up against from a profit and sustainability rules perspective, we have like no money. So the fact that Ineos is able to make as many moves as they're going to with pretty much no money related to, the Glazers leaving them with the bill or them having to figure it out, because the credit cards kind of come due for Manchester United. So like the Xerxes deal, the Euro deal, we're really in sell to buy territory. We have enough on the credit card. We got to probably sell McTominay. That's a player that we probably don't want to get rid of. Erik ten Hag doesn't want to get rid of, but we're going to get rid of. Pellistri, another player that, you could probably loan him, but we're going to get rid of him just because we have to free up wages. We need the transfer fees coming in, and we want to fund business. Ugarte, figure out the midfield. We still got left back is looking to be a problem at Manchester United from the start of the season. Number 9, Tony's out there. Sancho was off the bench against Fulham. It's 12 days to go, August 30th, 11 p.m. UK time. Don't know why it's not midnight. I thought you turned into a pumpkin at midnight from a transfer perspective. Maybe it's because Sky Sports doesn't want to stay up that late. Regardless, it's 11 p.m. UK time. Set your fax machines. It's going to be really exciting. Ineos doing lots of different deals. This could go in many different ways, and I feel it's coming down to the wire. I feel like Ineos is kind of waiting people out. It's going to get funny with 48 hours to go. There's going to be some deals done by Manchester United. I'm excited. Ineos is nimble. They're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to get some good deals. I hope they can do something with Sancho. I heard Frankie de Jong swap deal. We've heard a Ugarte swap deal. Sancho's kind of that bargaining chip that I think should move. And that is going to be a big one because we're going to be playing some brinksmanship in the transfer market.
Yeah, it's, if you're really good, if you have a really good front office, this is where they shine. This is like, kind of like waiting, being patient, and waiting for the opportunity to kind of take advantage of the market. So we've gotten good business done, I think, with the first 4 transfers in. Decent valuations, right profile all around. Now, given that we're trying to sell a lot of players in order to buy players, some players of which they don't want to pony up because it's United. Maybe they're on big wages. Maybe they, we still have a legacy for not only being dupes as it comes to buying and overpaying for players, we also are dupes in a way we sell players. So there's a lot of that happening at once, and also like this shit always accelerates towards the end of the window. So these boys should stay active. Another reason why this squad is going to be kind of in disarray for the first couple months of the season, but it's a long season, and there's a lot of breaks. There are international breaks, and we will get players back. We'll lose players, but I wouldn't want to be their shoes necessarily, but they're doing thus far so good. So they can keep up this kind of work and not make bad deals and try to limit our damages on the out in the future. That's a good place to be.
No, I'm very excited for Ineos and what they can do. I feel like you said, like you hired this team because of what they can do now. I think everything in the transfer window has been pretty vanilla down the fairway. This is when it's going to get exciting because I think this is where the wheeling and dealing is going to come in. And deadline day should be exciting for Manchester United because Ineos is has a lot of players on the block. A lot of moves can happen. A lot of players can come in. We're not fully committed. We're not just laser focused on one signing all the way to the deadline. There's 3 or 4 players that can leave. There's 3 or 4 players that can come in. By the way, these players want United. Ugarte wants United. He's waiting to figure out the how. Is it Sancho? Is it selling McTominay and then getting money, then buying him. It's all up in the air, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out because this is a world-class front office, and this is my Super Bowl, sir. Like Ineos making this squad and turning this team into something that's serviceable for this season is what I'm excited about. We just talked about the Fulham match. The football is going to get better. It has to get better. But Ineos building a championship team over the next 3 years, this is what I'm all in for because we're breaking with tradition over the last 10 years, which have sucked. And I'm so excited to see what this front office can do. But, sir, before we get into the transfer news proper, let's get into a quick PSA for the podcast. You like the American Red Devils? We are now on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. Support the pod. Don't ask what your Muppet Take can do for you. Ask what you can do for the Muppet Take. Speaking of Muppet Take, we have the Muppet of the Week at Jason RS4340. Can we return Lenny package for another package, sir? Can we return Lenny Euro? I guess is what he's getting at here.
No,
Muppet of the Week.
N64, sorry, man, just because it doesn't load quite right. You got to stick with it. There's no warranty for Lenny Euro.
Interesting that the metatarsal issue we knew about and that we let him play. That was very strange. I didn't like hearing that one. But it was known, and it did get worse. But we're buying them for the future. And if you want to be the Muppet of the Week, comment down below on our YouTube page. Also, subscribe while you're at it. And if you want to go further to support the Muppet Take, check out our Patreon page. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Tons of benefits. Extra episode every month where we break down the prior month. Let the hair down on the Patreon episode. Please support us. Go the extra mile for the small-time operation. Also, check out our store. Like we mentioned, hats, scarves, shirts, beanies for when it gets cold. Probably don't need them now. But the trucker hat is looking mighty fine. Pick one up. Support the podcast. Look sharp. The American Red Devils all day, every day. And, sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews and 5-star reviews, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod and help us get found by other top fans like yourself. But we're also giving away free ARD merch. All you have to do is write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to americanredevils@gmail.com. with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick and ship some free ARD gears and right to your door anywhere in the world, sir. Hopefully, what's getting sent to our front door is from Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Christopher Vavell. I want all of them to bring us lots of shiny toys. They brought us some toys thus far, but I want them to get rid of my old crappy toys that I don't play with no more and bring us some new ones, some freshies. What do you say about that?
I don't think we're getting rid of Anthony, sir, unfortunately.
I think you're right.
All right, let's get into it. United in the news. First, transfer news to discuss. Just kidding. We're talking about the stadium.
First news is not transfer related. Everything else is.
All right, sir. What do you got? Stadium.
News leaking out. More and more. We're hearing a lot of stories about Old Trafford, and it seems that they are preferred. They're not going to do a refresh. They're going full rebuild like we had hoped for a couple months ago when this first came out. So 100,000-seater stadium is envisioned. They're calling it a $2 billion project. Same crew that did Yankee Stadium, that did the new Tottenham Spurs Stadium. So it's like the best, basically, engineering architect company you can get, which I believe, I can't remember the name at the moment. So they're involved in it. A lot of things have also we learned Old Trafford is going to be like scaled down, not destroyed, scaled down for like a 20,000-foot stadium and be used for the academy players and the women. So they're going to try and preserve as much of Old Trafford itself while building a new stadium, which I don't know what they're going to call, something corporate, I would imagine. But they're doing it the right way. So 100,000 seat stadium is what I'm talking about. We should have one of the biggest stadiums in Europe. I know we can fill it. The full rebuild is an exciting one. Keeping Old Trafford, I think, is a very smart move. And I hope the one thing I do hope is on the new one, I hope they don't make it too modern. I hope they try and harken to some nostalgia in some way. Yankee Stadium did that.
It's going to be modern. It's going to be modern.
I know, but not too modern. There's modern, and then there's space. Space.
You're concerned about the new. They're going to get it right.
I know they will.
Look, certain things you don't worry about. You say they got it. $2 billion, they got it. They'll figure it out.
It's a lot of money.
$2 billion. They're going to redevelop the waterfront. They're going to keep Old Trafford as a smaller stadium for the youth, maybe to be used for other events, etc. But they're going to create more of just like a property, right? If you ever seen what the Dallas Cowboys have done, they have their big stadium. They also have their training facility, and it's all kind of in a campus. And I feel we're going for that campus vibe where you have the historical Old Trafford, and then you have like the new Old Trafford, or it's going to be Maui Gym Stadium, the 100,000 seater, and then hopefully they get the additional funding to redevelop the waterfront and, make more of United's history. Obviously, there's the famous tunnel you can walk through at the stadium right now, but it's just, there's so much more to Manchester United's history, and there's so many people coming to visit it around the world that it doesn't really sort of like wet your beak as far as, the tourism element that they could benefit from. I know locals don't necessarily like that, or they don't want to cater to that population, but you go to Old Trafford on match day, you have a lot of locals and you have a lot of people coming from around the world for the first time, or maybe they're season ticket holders like us. But I do think that there's just so much they can do there, and I'm very excited to hear about this plan. The 100,000 seat stadium, great. That just means our seats get better, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
If we're a certain level and we got 70,000, imagine how close we're going to be with 100,000. But there's other things that were exciting where they want to make a red wall, kind of like Dortmund.
Single stand, Stretford End. They're not going to do a double tier. They want to do one giant tier, which is kind of badass.
Which is awesome. I do rate that. Although, now we're like in the second tier and we're like 7 rows from the balcony. I kind of like that better view. And then if you took our same seat in like the wall, it would be worse.
I hate to break it to you. So, that new stadium's not going to be ready for like until our kids are 10.
It's good. But this is exciting.
2030. It's great.
And so what this is speaking to is sort of the lens I'm trying to take and look at this club is like, hey man, the next 10 years, the last 10 years are miserable. The next 10 years are going to be unbelievable. If you think of this new stadium coming down the line, what Ineos is going to do with the roster, the creative commercial deals they're going to do to free up cash to invest in this team and invest in this stadium and invest in the area and make Manchester United better on all fronts. Sir, I've been to the Camp Nou experience. It's unbelievable. Like, why can't United have that? We've traveled around to lots of stadiums in the world, the Bernabeu, and it's just, Old Trafford is very special. It holds a special place in my heart, but I do think the experience from a world sporting perspective could be better. There are downsides where, you go to Wembley, it's not, I don't rate Wembley that much, and I don't want them to go on that angle. Also, like, you have the Meadowlands in New Jersey for the Giants, and they built the new Meadowlands, and it's not good. And so there is risk here, them building a new stadium. I just believe they're going to do it right. Given the projects the firm has been associated with, I think they're going to do it right. And Ineos doesn't mess around. So I think there's going to be a lot of history woven in there, respect for the old stadium as well. And, going to it on match days, it's not great. When you're in your seat, it's amazing, but the stadium itself, not great.
Yeah, and I remember the name of the architecture firm is Populous. So check out their website. They've done some cool work. And like you said, it's an underutilized asset. It's like Manchester United is by far the most famous club in England and one of the most famous sports team in the world, literally bar none. They're in the top 5 globally. So it's like, it should be a destination. The stadium has a lot of nostalgia, incredible history. In your seat, it's hard to beat. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's underinvested. It should be a whole thing. Like you said, a complex. There should be lots of hotels and restaurants everywhere and match day experiences. And then the real thing they're going to do with the next Old Trafford is that they're going to make it a fucking cash cow. And they're just going to do all kinds of sporting events, maybe host an NFL game, right? Concerts, big ticket concerts.
That's what we need.
Other shit like I can't even think of right now, but that is the way you do it, right? You have a turf field they can come cover with synthetic, and that way you can use it for a lot of different stuff and bring a lot of money in. Because the fact that United and Old Trafford did not get chosen for the 2026 Euros, 28 Euros, is a travesty, and it's because the stadium was left to rot by the Glazers. So
yeah, we're being left behind, and I'm glad Ineos is putting this as sort of the crown jewel in the revamp of Manchester United, and what the stadium will mean to have the 100,000 seater, and then the other. It's just going to be more revenue, which means more money for this club over the long term, which will help us invest in the squad. And continue the tradition that Manchester United will be a force in European football for 50 years to come, right? And that's what I want as a fan. So you might be selling out some tradition, but we're going to be getting a lot of benefit that will continue to be invested in this club and have us perform and win a few Champions Leagues, sir. That's what I'm trying to do here. We're trying to win the Champions League. Need at least 3 more before I go on the ground. I need at least 3 more. I could use 5, maybe something like that.
3 would be great.
Imagine winning a World European Cup we're so far off of it. But on the way to winning the European Cup, Snapdragon extended their shirt deal. Snapdragon seems all in on Manchester United. I have no problem with this. Just pay us more money.
Yeah, I mean, they extended their shirt contract. They are one of the rumored interested parties in buying naming rights for the stadium, whether they'll probably do a hybrid. Like the current stadium will be named it for a while just to get the money now, and then they'll also do a separate deal, or I don't even know how they're going to do it. But this is good. I mean, this is a technology company that's actually growing, unlike our previous sponsors. Shout out TeamViewer. I still haven't seen you in the wild, which is fucking incredible. Never seen anybody use TeamViewer. And this is great. It's like, like you said, there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes with like the further commercialization of Manchester United that is going to be off-putting for certain folks. But at this point, like, you have to abide by, certain clubs have to abide by financial fair play. I know City doesn't. They can do whatever they want. But for the rest of us, just like common folk, we have to play by the rules. So you need to get as much cash into every avenue, every vehicle possible into this club, and one of which is just getting more and more cozy with companies like Snapdragon. So at least there's someone who wants to grow with us, compared to the Chevy deal. The guy got fucking immediately fired as soon as he signed the Chevy deal.
Chevrolet.
It seems like Qualcomm and Snapdragon are more on board with putting their name around United, and I think it's a shrewd move given the momentum behind the club and how the next 10 years should be brighter than the last.
As long as this deal steps up over time, I'm good. Let's get into transfers now. Jadon Sancho, PSG. It's heating up. This is a deal that's going to come down to the wire, right? We heard smoke that there was a Frankie de Jong Sancho swap with Barca. That's smoke for PSG. Is PSG real? Are they playing with Ugarte? How is this going to play out? Does somebody want to pay cash up front for Jadon Sancho? So I feel like Sancho is one of those items, or one of the arrows in the quiver of Ineos that could just go anywhere, and they're using everyone to sort of bounce it off of each other. I like Frankie de Jong coming in. I would rate him more than I would Ugarte. Ugarte is more of that raw talent where you don't know where it's going to go. Frankie de Jong, we're already getting super Dutch. He's a really good player. He's a really
the best
good
Dutch player that exists basically on the market right now.
Yeah, and that's more of like a Hail Mary. But Jadon Sancho leaving, us getting something for him and getting his wages off the books, huge win if it can be done. I'm rating this one as, this is 50-50. It has to be PSG. And for some reason, they're holding out with Ugarte. I don't understand. It's going to get a little the Ugarte-Sancho deal, buy to sell or sell to buy, is going to get really nervy at the end. So I'm hoping, but he's not. He was on the bench. He wasn't on the bench. That indicates something's going on. But what? I couldn't tell you.
He wasn't training. Actually, he wasn't in the matchday squad for the Fulham game, and neither was Manuel Ugarte for their opener for PSG. So both players are being protected at the moment as transfers accelerate. This would make, I agree from like just an overall ceiling. Like Frankie de Jong's a much better player than Ugarte. I'm not sure we need that profile. We could always use that talent. He's a hell of a player, but the team is crying out for destroyer. I'm actually excited about Ugarte. I think he's going to
Koyer the destroyer. We have one.
Yeah, but he's not ready yet. So you need someone who's a little bit older and gives you options. We need depth, but at the end of the day,
you like Ugarte.
At the end of the day, I do like Ugarte, bro. Like you like Frankie de Jong. You want more Dutch guys? I think you're over the Dutch guys.
No, I just.
No, I think he's not a Rodri. He's not a Casemiro at his prime, but he makes a lot of fucking tackles, and we need someone to just break up play, bro. Because Paulinho was like that. Paulinho wasn't spraying balls. He was just a dog. He's literally the only player who had more tackles in top 5 leagues was Paulinho, and then it's Ugarte. So that couldn't hurt. We don't have anyone that does that, really. I mean, maybe Casemiro back in his day, but I don't mind a destroyer. It's a fucking high physicality league, sir.
Yeah, but there's like loan to buy options. Like swap has kind of been rumored. I saw the swap for Barca. There's so much out there regarding Jadon Sancho. It is heating up. Ugarte did tweet the time emoji, and he was like working out, like something's gonna be sorted. So it's heating up on all fronts. We're gonna keep you posted there. This one. I can't say it. Panathinaikos in Greece, talking about the Pellistri deal. That means you're not getting a lot of money, and it's kind of sad because I think he's a good player, features for Uruguay, and hasn't clicked. Again, this goes back to the Ed Woodward and co signing too many right wingers and then loaning them into oblivion, and then now he's kind of going to Greece. Feel for the kid there. I don't think that's the best career move, but right wing, we have options, and he probably isn't going to get time, so it's probably best for him to move on.
Yeah, loan to nowhere. We've blown the careers of a lot of players. I just think at this point, like, he should be going to the Dutch league, or like go play in
Championship.
Scotland or championship. Going to Greece at his age feels a little bit like a step down, unfortunately, because it's not even in the big 7 leagues, I would say. But we should have handled this differently. I want him to go. I want him to be sold for his sake, because he's another guy who seems like a real good kid who would have an impact on the right tier of firm, right team of club. But United's like, there's just not enough squad. We have like Anthony Bluffers to make room for, let alone Facundo Pellistri.
Yeah, this French league sounds about right.
Right, French league would be great. Spanish league.
From DiMarzio, sir, Lindelof, Florentina, he might be going. What do you say?
He's gonna meet up with your boy De Gea. He just joined Florence as well. Another low cost deal. I heard like 7 or 8 million pounds max, probably with add-ons. But he is not a valuable player. I think he's 30. Like, I don't think he can hang in the Premier League. He would do great. Serie A sounds about right. Serie A is a little physical, but he would do great in Spain or back in Portugal where we signed him. So one to keep an eye on, but I think like turning him over and actually not replacing him and maybe using it to buy like utility fullback would be the move, because we now have 5 center backs with Evans. Obviously Lenny's out for 3 more months, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and then the next transfer that's really heating up here is McTominay. McTominay to Napoli. From Romano, Napoli playing coy. They need to sell Osimhen to sign McTominay. Fulham is now interested too. There's heat from Fulham. McTominay does seem to be on his way out the door. I think from what we have heard, Erik ten Hag wants to keep the man, but Ineos is making the call that he's got to go. He's surplus requirements. If we get Ugarte in, McTominay has to go, and they're leaning more in the Ugarte direction. So McTominay needs to be sold. The question is to who and for how much. I rate him for not a penny less than 35 million pounds, sir. He's a great player. Should be an excellent squad player for United. He's gone from playing the 6 and the 8 to playing the 10 under Erik ten Hag. It's been unfair to him. He's played center back at Scotland. He's been all over the pitch. I feel like he needs to specialize and he needs playing time, and he's not going to get it at Manchester United.
No, he's not, but he is well loved. I think he's one of those players that most fans appreciate. I appreciate him. I think you appreciate him as well, because he's hardworking. He's like a classic academy player. Works hard, works his ass off, comes up in dependable moments. Like you said, you cannot sell it. He's 20. I think he's 27. You can't sell him for under 30 million pounds. If like Smith Rowe is going for 30, that guy's like no good. That guy is no good. Yeah, he's going for that kind of money.
Like he was no
he's
good.
a little younger.
Like
I think he's a couple
like
years younger, but he's like not a good player. And McTominay is so fucking useful. He can play all over the pitch. Like, so there's no point to sell him unless you can get 30, because to replace him with any type of competent midfielder who's not over the hill would be at least 30 million pounds. So I hope United plays this smartly, because we could still use him. You could use a player like him when you do go to last chance saloon at the end of the end of the game.
Yeah, and so Fulham had 2 bids rejected. They're coming in with another one. Their last bid was worth 20 million pounds. So people are just not meeting our valuation on Scott McTominay, which sucks. But a lot of moving parts in the transfer market. You saw it. We're sell to buy. Ugarte's out there. We want to get him in. I'm a robot. People keep linking us to him. I don't know what is going on there.
You seeing that?
Yeah,
it's gotta be his agent.
That's what it seems like. It's all from his side. He should not come back to.
I think we're good.
To Manchester United. But yeah, tons of moving parts. I'm disappointed we don't see a Tony rumor out there. Tony was not in the Brentford team. Somebody's interested in buying him. I heard rumors from Saudi. Arsenal hasn't. They were playing. Arteta played coy post-match about deals. United have to be in for Ivan Toney. That one kills me. If we're not buying another striker, it tells you what type of year it's going to be, unfortunately, right? If you look at the striking options we have, you have Xerxes, you have Højlund. You really need a Toney. Like, you can't 2 strikers for a whole season, this many competitions. You need more than that.
I agree, and we haven't heard a lot about it. It's funny. A week ago, their coach was like, "He's not moving. He's not going anywhere." And now they're like, "He's definitely leaving. He's
going."
So he clearly was like, "I'm fucking leaving this club. You're gonna sell me, or I'm leaving on a free next year." So I think we use that to our advantage. He's like attracted to all these random clubs, like some club in Saudi, but he fits the profile. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of challenges around the profile because he's had some issues. Right, the gambling thing is not insignificant when you're a footballer and you have inside information, and you can also affect the game. But we need goal scorers, and one man's it allows us to pick up a player that we would not otherwise be able to afford if we can accommodate a little risk. That's all I'm saying. If we can take on the risk, he would.
Tony's
contribute.
the player you want to get. That's United need to go back.
Goals, bro.
Like even what we're doing, where we're like buying the Dutch league. It's like you go back to the EPL proven players. It's
Tends
like
to be expensive. But
Ward Prowse. Like certain player, Tarkowski, Ward Prowse, like
McGinn.
Jared Bowen, like these guys, like are not sexy, but they're dogs, and you need them. And it's just like you build the spine like through the English Premier League, proven. The other clubs need to sell them. You just can't get put over the barrel. And you try to find value in the Dutch league or the French league, you get burned. It's like one of those things where we've seen it so long, and I just want to see us like Ivan Toney's the perfect striker. You saw that ice cold penalty in the Euros. He's going to score you 20. It's like he'll take the starting position from Højlund or Xerxes like easy, and it's like that type of player makes a huge difference more than his price. But I just don't. I think it's too much for any of us, and we haven't heard any rumors. I'm just. Outside straight draw. I hope it happens.
I think 6 is like the priority. Like they want to get a new Ugarte or an equivalent in, like as a must. Another fullback. We've been hearing us attracted to like some utility fullbacks. That would probably be second. Striker, I think, is just so far down the line. I agree. I think we need it, but we're hearing no noise, none, other than from
crickets.
Tony's camp. Tony's camp is definitely pushing that he'd love to come to United, but like nothing from our end.
All right. Finishing up the podcast, we got a giveaway. If you follow us on Instagram, and you don't, you got to follow us at USA Red Devils, sir. We ran a story for a giveaway, and if you replied to that story, you got entered to win a scarf, sir. You want to tell them all about our scarf?
Scarves are all handmade. John stitches them one by one in his little factory. He borrows the Potter Room keys and comes in the middle of the night. It stitches them up. No, they're incredible. Like, we have a nice catalog at this point. The new scarf this year is obviously Viva Garnacho. We wanted to highlight an individual player, especially after the season he had last year. A real breakout season for Garnacho with that bicycle kick. But I love our scarves. Like, especially the Munich air disaster one, I think is very well done. We've won it all. Is
also, you love United, hate Glazer.
Fuck Glazers, that's always classic. That never goes out of style. So a lot of good scarves to choose from.
But so our Instagram, I got it wrong. That's how good we are here at the America Red Devils. It's just America Red Devils on Instagram, and we actually have 2 Instagram accounts. If you want bonus or extra credit, you can follow America Red Devils HQ, and we run some stories and giveaways there. So all you have to do is when we run a giveaway, you reply to it, and then we're going to pull a random draw live on the pod and then give out some scarves. So the goal is just give away ARD merch to top up. It's like yourself. So please drop us a follow. American Red Devils on Instagram. Real quick, random number generator. We're giving away 3 scarves here. We got 60. That's going to go to Eric A. You are a winner. You just won an American Red Devils scarf. Thank you for following us on the socials. Eric, we got you down for 1. We're going to do 2 more. 67, we're going with, can't even pronounce Innova. This person didn't even put their name, but it's just a random line of characters.
Hugo. Looks like a Hugo V.
Hugo V, let's go. And then 42, Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan. You won an American Devils scarf as well. Thank you for everybody who replied to our story, our first giveaway. We're doing it live here, sir, on the podcast. That's the only way that we do it. And obviously, we want to get Muppets like yourself some more merch, give you scarves, have fun in the socials, follow us, and check out our YouTube page. Like we said, that is it. That's our wrap on the pod. Transfer news, stadium news, it's all in the bag. Follow us on Instagram, American Red Devils, Twitter, USA Red Devils. Check out our store, americandevils.store. You saw the scarves we just posted. And Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. Sir, you want to give us our top 10 downloads the last 7 days?
Absolutely. Number 1, how you doing? Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, Los Angeles, California, New York, Oslo, Norway, Brooklyn, New York, Philadelphia, PA, Charlotte, North Carolina, Phoenix, Arizona, and last but not least, Dallas, Texas. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. 1 game in. We got 37 games to go in the league. We got 8 games at least in the Europa League. We got 1 at least in the FA Cup. We got 1 at least in the EFL Cup. So we got games. We're going to be eating all year, and a lot to look forward to. a lot of news too. The news is going to come very fast over the next 2 weeks, and we're going to be with you every step of the way to break it down.
Everybody have a great week. On to Brighton.